What is up, all you individuals out there? It's me, full-time anime man. And before I get into this what if, I would just like to apologize for this video taking so long. It's just that my other what ifs, mainly Ice Wolf, has been getting a lot of attention and a lot of people have wanted that more than my other what ifs. But right now, Ice Wolf may be pushed back just a little bit for a little while. And as for Firewolf, I will get to that one soon. In fact, I actually have a surprise episode for that one, mainly a special. Like, yeah, just a quick FYI on that. Another thing I want to say is that I would like to thank the two people that helped come up with this idea of Stormwolf, and that would be Radiant. I'm not exactly sure what that is next to the name, but I assume that that's Japanese or something. CC Close 8. The names that people could come up with nowadays really is clever nowadays. So yeah, that's another thing I wanted to get off my chest. Also, I wanted to get this off my chest. I forgot to mention in the last video of the drawbacks and Deku's weakness. Other than him being an insomniac and unable to sleep, if Izuku, while in his wolf form, uses his super speed for too long, he could potentially suffer a heart attack. Now, I know heart attacks mainly occur only when Plex develops in the walls of the, coronary artery, which is the vessel that supplies oxygenated blood to the heart. But bear with me, please and thank you. Because when doing so, his positive and negative charge in him could overlap and overcharge his body. Mainly, I would like to think that Izuku is like a car, and like the engine has to have a cooling fan in front of it so that it doesn't overheat. Mainly, it's like that. And his weakness. His weakness is going to be water, but it's going to be a particular type of water, mainly unpurified water, which mainly is the water that comes out the sink or what is used to fill up a pool or that kind of stuff. The reason why I think water would be his weakness is that, yes, that it could amplify his powers greatly. I could probably see Denki doing that with his powers whenever he's feeling low on it, but Izuku, he's already filled up with electricity. And let's not forget that Izuku may be able to conduct his own electricity, but he's still human on the inside and outside. And he already has his electricity source, which is in his cells. I could imagine that unpurified water actually fries him from the inside out. It's almost as similar as putting a toaster into the tub. Mainly like that. But here's the thing though. He can drink water, he can take a shower, it's just that his body can't be fully submerged in water. Like, he can't be in a tub, he can't be in a pool, unless it's purified water. And I would imagine, even if he was in purified water, it would take about 3 minutes until he would, die from such an overcharge. And if he manages to get out, he would have to get the water off of him as soon as possible. Otherwise, it feels like acid on his skin, and it would burn tremendously, unimaginably. And also, I also have another thing on my mind. I have to say, this one person that commented this, honestly, just got on my nerves a little bit. Okay, I'm speaking from the heart. It says here, if I get 100 likes, I will continue this what if. Gets almost 600 likes, almost him. Doesn't make part 2. Me. Bruh. Okay, y'all, first of all, I did say exactly that. I said if this video gets 100 likes, I will continue this what if. I didn't say I would upload the next part immediately because it was still a work in progress. But of course, I'm gonna like censor the name so that nobody goes after this person. All right. So everyone be nice to each other, like a dad. Anyway, with that out of the way, this is What If Deku Was a Storm Wolf Part 2. I hope everyone enjoys. Also, it has come to my attention that these two above are Denki's parents. Now, as far as I've seen from the manga so far, I truly believe that this guy is actually Denki's father, but it looks like here, like there's no doubt that that's Denki's mother because the same hairstyle and the black spots in her hair, that's definitely Denki's mom. But it looks like here she has the electrification quirk, while I don't know what the father is. So, just for fun, let's just say that the father has the electrical quirk in this what if universe. And also, I forgot to mention what kind of wolf that Izuku will be in this what if. I'm gonna say he's a tundra wolf. And considering the fact that he's not Hasashi's son, his hair is going to be different. The design for his hair might be a little difficult because honestly, it's just a theory that this guy may be, the father of Denki. But like, I'm just gonna say, heck, why not? And just give them both the same hairstyle. With Izuku's hair being mostly green and the zigzag on Denki's hair right there, I'm gonna say it's gonna be on the opposite side of Izuku's hair, and the black streak is actually going to be green. No, yellow. It's going to be yellow. So, that's basically a little more details about Izuku. Where we last left off, both the Kaminari brothers took down the sludge villain. Izuku was about to be placed under arrest for the supposed assault of a pro-hero, Death Arms. But people rebelled against that idea, for Izuku was the only one who took action to save his brother while the heroes were doing nothing. All Might heard about what Izuku did and wanted to offer his quirk to him, one for all. This is where we pick up where we left off. Izuku was bewildered from what he just heard and says, "You want to give me your quirk?" "Yeah," said Toshinori. "Do you accept?" Izuku thinks for a second and says, "Is there more you can tell me about this quirk before I give you my answer?" Toshinori then says, "Yeah, there is. Come on, let's go find a spot and sit down." A few minutes later, they find a spot at an empty park, and they sit down on the nearest bench. Toshinori speaks. "So yeah, this quirk can be passed down from person to person, and it gets stronger as it passes on. Also, after each person it was passed down to, it replicates each quirk that the person has possessed, and it projects those quirks onto its next successor. I've done my research, and so far, I've learned that there were 7 people before that owned this quirk. I am its 8th wielder, and I want you to be the 9th. Izuku stares in amazement. He was about to talk, but then Toshinori spoke. "Oh yeah, and One for All also amplifies the wielder's current quirk. So then that means you have a lightning quirk, as you mentioned before, right? So that must mean you must have a limit. If you take my quirk, it will make you stronger, and you won't have to worry about running out of energy again." Izuku's eyes widen as he gets an idea and says, "All Might, I will not accept your offer." All Might was surprised, saying, okay, why not, young Kaminari? With a smile, with a smile on his face and excitement flowing through his veins, Izuku explains, because I know someone who is far more deserving of your power. He just as much wants to be a hero as much as I do. Oh, and who might that be? Said Toshinori. We then fade to black. And then reappear. Denki was waking up from his slumber, with Izuku sitting in his bed from the other side of the room. As Denki stretches his arms out and yawns, "Good morning, Denki," said Izuku. "Good morning, bro. Man, I gotta say, yesterday was crazy. I thought it would take us forever to master the special brother beam cannon." Izuku chuckles and says, "Yeah, we truly did nail it. Oh, and bro, I got a surprise for you." Denki turns his face to Izuku and he continues to stretch. "Oh, really? What is it?" "Well, if I told you, it wouldn't be a surprise now, would it? Now, come on, get dressed. We gotta get going." Denki ushers out of his bed and into the bathroom. And after a few minutes, Izuku is waiting with his arms crossed and leaning against the wall. Outside of the bathroom, Denki speaks. "So, bro, when I finish, are you gonna shower too?" Izuku speaks from the other side. No, I already did a few minutes before you woke up, so I'm good." "Oh," said Denki. "Well, hey, can I get a hint about what the surprise is?" "I mean, we gotta go somewhere to get to it, so is it a place?" "No spoilers," said Izuku. "Ah, you jerk," said Denki. A few minutes later, Denki has gotten dressed, and Izuku says, "Okay, let's head out." But before they leave the house, Mother lectures the boys about being careful. "I'd hate to get another call saying that either one of you are in the hospital again." "Yeah, Mom, we'll be careful," said Denki. "Yeah, because this time I'll be there to protect him," said Izuku. Denki then turns his head to Izuku, smirks, and punches him in the shoulder. "We'll see you later, Mom." They both leave, and after a few minutes of walking, Denki speaks. "Oh, come on, bro. You know I can't handle surprises. Just tell me what it is." Izuku smiles and says, "No." Izuku gives out laughing, and Denki says, "You jerk." Denki then puts Izuku in a headlock with his left arm, and with his right arm, he gives him a noogie. Izuku laughs and shakes his way out of his brother's grip and says, "Okay, now, enough horsing around. We need to get going. Quickly." "Well, at least tell me where we're going." Izuku then takes a big inhale and said, "No." Denki grows irritated and says, "Why you?" Denki starts chasing Izuku, and Izuku starts running. "Get back here," said Denki. "What are you gonna do?" said Izuku. "Nothing." "Then why are you chasing me?" "Just stop and you'll find out." "No." Denki grunts, and after a few minutes of running, Denki grows exhausted and slows down while Izuku continues to run. Izuku looks back, seeing his brother catching his breath, and runs back towards him, saying, "You okay, bro?" Denki speaks. It's not fair." Izuku looks down towards his brother. "What's not fair?" said Izuku. Denki continues. "You have practically unlimited stamina. You could run for a long time and not get tired. And thanks to your positive and negative charges, you never run out of electricity." Denki sighs and says, "Yesterday, you saved me from that sludge villain, and I hardly even put up a fight to defend myself." If you hadn't come when you did, who knows what would have happened. I wish I was like you. Izuku can tell that his brother was upset because he thinks he's weak and isn't worth anything. Izuku kneels down to his brother onto his knees and says, "Listen, Denki, you're a lot stronger than you think. If your quirk can do as much damage as it did, then just think about the possibilities that you can do when you're stronger." Denki looks up towards Izuku, and Izuku continues, "I look to you for guidance. You're brave, and you're always there to protect me when some people wish to inflict harm upon me. You were always there to watch me grow. And you say you wish you were like me. Well, I wish I was like you." A smile comes across Denki's face, and Izuku offers him his hand to get up. Denki then takes his hand, and they both start walking. After a few more minutes, they arrive at Dekoba Beach, where there is trash all over the place. Izuku sniffs the air and says, "Yep." Izuku then extends his right arm out and says, "Surprise!" Denki looks out in confusion and says, "Wow, trash. Thanks, bro. I'm very surprised." Izuku chuckles and says, "That's not it, bro. Come on, we gotta walk through the trash." They both walk through piles of trash, from old filing cabinets to old washing machines and refrigerators. And when they reach the other side, Izuku looked and says, "There he is." Denki looks and sees a thin man with blonde hair. Toshinori was standing there, watching the waves of the ocean wash over each other, with the light of the sun almost over the horizon. Who is that, bro?" asked Denki. "Come on, I'll introduce you guys." They both approach Toshinori, and Izuku speaks. "Good morning, Toshinori. So, here he is. This is my brother I told you about. Denki Toshinori. Toshinori Denki." "Hi, how are you doing?" said Denki. Toshinori continues to stare out at the ocean, mesmerized by its infinite beauty of water. He then speaks. "This is quite a beautiful sight, isn't it? It's a shame it's hard to see through all this pile of trash." Denki was confused and says, "Izuku, what's this guy's problem?" "Just wait," said Izuku. Toshinori then broke his concentration, turning to the two boys and says, "I'm sorry, sometimes I go deep in thought about things. Hi there, so you must be the elder brother of Izuku here. He's told me a lot of good things about you." Denki and Toshinori shake hands, and Denki says, "It's nice to meet you. So, how did you guys meet?" Izuku speaks, saying, "Here, I'll tell him, Toshinori. We met yesterday after the sludge villain attack. You see, right now, we see him as Toshinori, but when he really needs to be strong, he then turns into..." Izuku was interrupted by a cloud of smoke emanating from Toshinori, and with it emerges All Might, the #1 hero. All Might says, while laughing, "Ha ha ha! I am All Might, defender of justice and the symbol of peace. Ha ha!" Denki is bewildered from what he had just saw. He couldn't even find the right words. The only words that escaped his mouth was stuttering. What are you, what did you, what's going on? This is a... Denki then turned to Izuku, and Izuku says, "Surprise." Denki then turned back to All Might and says, All Might, wow! First off, I'd like to say I'm a huge fan of yours. All Might then speaks, Ha ha! Well, it's nice to meet you, Elder Kaminari. Escape. Denki tries to speak, but he stutters more. What? Izuku pats him on the back to snap him out of his stutteriness. What are you doing here? All Might then explains. Well, your brother here wanted me to offer you my quirk. What? Said Denki. All Might continued. Yes, originally I wanted to offer him my quirk because of his heroic actions from yesterday. Incident. But he wanted me to give it to you more than anything. He also told me about the times when people bullied him and you were always there to protect him. And so, I want to give you a chance. Denki then turned to Izuku with his mouth open in bewilderment about what All Might just said and says, Bro, you did this for me? Of course I did, said Izuku. Also, there's an extra surprise. Tell him, All Might. All Might then explains to Denki that if he takes his quirk, then his quirk will be powered gratefully, which means that he won't have to worry about running out of energy or power, however you like to put it. Just like Izuku. Denki was even more surprised than before and says, Wow, unlimited power? That means I could be like you, bro. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, said Izuku. But there is a catch, though. All Might explains. Denki turns his attention back to All Might, saying, Yes, you see, in order for you to take my quirk, you need to be in good shape. If you try to use my quirk when you're weak, basically all your limbs would fall off of your body. What? Said Denki. Izuku speaks. Yeah, I know, it sounds scary, but I believe in you, Denki. You can do this. That's what all this trash is for. It's to help you gain some muscle mass. And as your brother, I will be there with you every step of the way. Denki thinks for a moment and says, Okay, let's do it. Denki and All Might shake hands, and All Might says, Wonderful! Now, shall we get started? Both of the boys raise their fists in the air while yelling, Yeah! Let's do it, said Izuku. Both of the boys start picking up their trash. All Might speaks. Wonderful. Now, Elder Kaminari, you have till the end of 10 months to clean this beach, and hopefully you will be ready by then. Denki smiles and says, Yes, sir. We then slowly fade out from the beach to the ocean floor. As the view of the beach gets smaller and smaller, we fade to black. Some time has passed, and All Might decided that the boys will be taking a break from cleaning the beach, and will be doing some cardio to help build up some endurance. Denki and Izuku was given a task to do a 10-kilometer run. During their run, Izuku wasn't even breaking a sweat. But after a few minutes of running, Denki was sweating like a dog at the vet. Denki stops running to catch his breath, leaning against a concrete wall. Denki bends over, rapidly breathing as his face drips and pours with sweat. Izuku looks back and sees his brother and runs back towards him, while still jogging in place, while saying, Hey, come on, bro, we need to keep going. Denki tries to speak, but his speech was interrupted by his breathing. I don't know if I can do this, bro. I'm so tired. Every morning I wake up, it just aches and pain. I can barely get out of bed. Denki continues to lean against the wall, and then he slides down with the remaining sweat on his back leaving the marks of where he was just leaning against. Izuku stops jogging as he listens to his brother. I can't do this, Izuku. It's just too hard. I'm not worthy of All Might's power. You should just take it. You're already in good shape. There's no doubt in my mind that you could wield his power better than I can. Denki then brings his knees up to his head while sitting down and crossing his arms over them, bringing them closer to his face. Izuku felt sorry for his brother. He had no faith in himself to follow through. Izuku then sat down next to his brother and said, Denki, there's another reason I wanted All Might to give you his power. And that would be because I truly believe you are worthy. Because not only is it that it could make you stronger, but it's because your spirit is unbreakable. All those times we spent together, you always kept a smile on your face, even through the roughest times. You know, at first, I thought All Might got that idea from you to smile all the time. That's why I told All Might you have more willpower to be a hero. And let me tell you this, before All Might, I always looked to you as my hero. And to this day, I still do. You're gonna get one for all, even if I gotta drag your sorry butt there. Denki looks to Izuku and a smile slowly comes across his face and says, Thanks, bro. That really means a lot to me. Both of the boys have their moment, and it was about time to get back to their run. But before they did, while still sitting on the ground, Izuku looks past Denki and sees a woman in her 30s jogging while wearing a pink tank top and gray shorts with one stripe on each side that were the color of neon green, with her hair in a ponytail. But the one thing that stood out most about this woman was the size of her breasts. With each step this woman took, her bosoms would jiggle, and Izuku couldn't help but be mesmerized by this woman's figure. Izuku couldn't help but stare, but Denki snapped him out of it by saying, Hey bro, what's wrong? Izuku shook his head and said, Nothing. And, not to mention, you don't want to look like a wimp in front of her, do you? Izuku points to the woman with the big breasts, and Denki's mouth opens from bewilderment. Denki then stands up with a little bit of struggle and says, Come on, bro, let's finish this run. Izuku smiles and stood up and says, That's my bro. Let's go. They continue their run, but not before Denki took one more look at the woman. And soon their jog ended. A few days have passed, and the boys were in the middle of cleaning the beach. Both the boys had their piles of trash. Izuku was tall and stable, but Denki's was tall, but it was really rickety. Denki threw an old tire at the top of the pile of trash. While Izuku was turned around, he heard creaking just behind him, where his brother was standing. Izuku turned around to see that the pile of trash was tilting towards Denki, about to fall on him, while his back was turned. Izuku took immediate action. He changed into his wolf form as he ran towards his brother. His body was covered with yellow electricity as he zoomed to Denki. Look out, said Wolfie Izuku. Denki then turned around to see that the trash was about to fall on him, That was until Izuku pushed him out of the way. Toshinori saw what had happened and ushered over to the boys, saying, "Are you okay, Elder Kaminari?" Denki then sits up while rubbing the back of his head, saying, "Yeah, I'm fine. My brother saved me." Wolfie Izuku then sits up while saying, "Hey, you gotta be careful, bro." Toshinori stares in bewilderment, almost forgetting that Izuku could change into a wolf. He speaks, "Oh, young Kaminari, I almost forgot you could do that." Toshinori then kneels down, getting on Izuku's level, saying, "Wow, this is amazing. You were so fast. Can you do that when you're human?" Wolfie Izuku then spoke, "No, I can't for some reason. And I can't run for too long, because if I do, my charges go haywire, and in my wolf form, I could suffer a heart attack." Denki then got in the conversation, saying, "Yeah, the first time it happened, we almost lost him. Since that day, whenever he uses both his quirks at the same time, I always get nervous. Heck, looking at him like this right now, I'm nervous." "Are you feeling okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. I only used it once." Toshinori was thinking and said, "I hope it's not too much of a tough subject, but what exactly happened?" The boys looked to each other and they nodded their heads. And Izuku says, "It's fine, I'll tell him. But first, let me go get my clothes and change back." A minute later, Izuku runs back to his clothes and changes back into a man. He sits down next to Toshinori and his brother and said, "A few days after our quirks activated, we were in the backyard playing. We then transitioned to a flashback to when the boys were 4 years old, showing off their quirks by sending electricity through their fingers." Young Izuku speaks, "Oh man, this is so cool." Young Denki then spoke, "Yeah, I wonder what more we can do with this kind of power." "Yeah. Wait, Izuku." "Yeah, what's up? Didn't the doctor say that if you use both quirks at the same time, you could be fast as lightning?" "Yeah, he did say that, didn't he?" "Yeah, I want to see that. Can you do it?" asked Denki. "Okay, hang on a second." Izuku gets down on all fours and he changes into his wolf cub form. He was small and his fur was soft and his ears were pointed up. "Wow, that was so awesome," said Denki. "Okay, let's see if this works." Izuku then covered his body in electricity and started running. When he ran, he would indeed move very fast that Denki couldn't even keep his eyes on him. "Oh wow, you're like a blur," said Denki. Izuku then stopped and speaks, "Oh man, this is so cool, I'm so fast." Woo! Izuku started running in a circle around Denki. And during his run, Izuku's light would grow brighter. And the brighter it got, the more slower Izuku would move. After a minute of running, Izuku would stop and pant really hard and then run again. Not even a millisecond later, he would stop again, and only this time he would stop in front of his brother, looking weak and tired. Izuku would then lose control of his breathing, and then he would fall over to his side. Denki, being concerned for his brother, would rush over to him and say, "Izuku, what's wrong?" Izuku did not speak, for he felt inexplicable pain in his chest. His legs were weak, and his head was pounding. All he did was stare off as he lies there on the ground. Denki grows even more concerned, saying, "Izuku, please, what's wrong? You're scaring me." All of a sudden, Izuku's body started to glow even more large amounts of electricity would emanate from his body, started to glow even brighter with every second that passes by. Denki would cry uncontrollably, tightly embracing his brother in his arms while saying, "Izuku, please, I'm scared. Say something, please." Without even knowing, Izuku's electricity would pass on to Denki. Soon enough, the boys were glowing yellow. Denki continues to cry, unsure of what to do, unsure of what's going on, unsure of what is happening to his brother. All that he could think of was his little brother. But his thinking was interrupted by a feeling in his right arm. Denki didn't know what it was, but something told him to raise his hand into the air and blast off the energy. And so he did. Denki, while still holding his brother in his arms, releases his electricity into the sky, creating a beam of light that was so bright and so loud that the mother heard it from inside the house. Denki then stopped. Both him and Izuku stopped glowing. But Izuku was still a bit shaky, and without even knowing, Denki soon passed out. The last thing that he heard before he fell asleep was his mother calling their names out of fright. A few hours have passed, and Denki was just waking up with an IV and a heart monitor attached to him. Looking out the window, it was dark, and looking around some more, he looked over and saw his mom and dad in the hospital chair sleeping. And looking around again, he sees his little brother next to him, having the same type of things attached to him. The only difference is there was a tube going down his nose. Denki tears up from seeing his brother the way he was. To him, it looked like Zuko was about to die at any moment. He tries to speak, but his voice cracked. Izuku. Denki then reached over with his right hand that had the heart monitor reader attached to his index finger to touch Izuku as tears continued to fall down his face. He reached the end of the line of the heart reader, and it falls off his finger, making the machine go flatline as it lets out a high-pitched noise that woke up the mom and dad with fright. They quickly looked over to their children and seized that Denki was awake. They quickly ran over to him and laid him back down. Mother speaks, saying, "Denki, no. Just stay down, sweetie." Father speaks, "Are you okay, son?" Denki looks into his mother's eyes with tears running down his face. He speaks, "What's wrong with him, Ma? What happened?" Both parents began to cry. Mother speaks, "Izuku, he went through a heart attack, sweetie. The doctor said that he had too much electricity flowing through him, that the electricity started attacking his heart." Father speaks, "He's too small to handle all that power. The doctors told us if he's bigger and stronger, then there's a big chance that he can be able to use it. But for now, he's just too small." Denki began to sob harder than before, saying, "Why does he have those tubes in his nose?" Mother speaks, "That's to help him breathe, sweetie. When I found you boys in the back, he was barely breathing, so I rushed you two to the hospital, and the doctors put those tubes in his nose to help him." Father spoke, and your mother called me, and I ran my way here. Denki can't stop crying, saying, "I feel like this is my fault. I told him to try it, and he..." he Denki was interrupted by his mother and father hugging him. Shh, 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 shh. No, it's not your fault. You didn't know this would happen. It's nobody's fault. The important thing is that we learn from this. We gotta make sure that Izuku understands what's going on with him. And make sure Izuku doesn't do that again, at least until he's stronger. Denki then looks back over to Izuku again, and the mother speaks. You know, before I came out, I saw a light that went so high into the sky. All that electricity that Izuku made, you must have absorbed some of it and sent it off away from him. You know, I think, you know what that means? You saved your brother, sweetie. If you didn't do that, he probably wouldn't be here right now. Father then rubbed Denki's head while saying, yeah, you definitely did save your brother. You're the best big brother. You're the best big brother of all time. That's my boy. Denki looks over one more time to Izuku, waking up, and the flashback ends. And so, yeah, that's what happened. When I woke up, our parents hugged me and they told me what had happened. Ever since that day, I was really grateful to Denki. He saved my life. Denki then reached over to Izuku with one arm, bringing him closer for a hug, and said, and I'd do it again. In fact, that was the day when we made the special move. We've called it the special brother beam cannon. Yeah, it fills Izuku with more energy than he can handle, but we quickly expel it before anything gets out of hand. Wow, that's truly a fascinating story, said Toshinori. And you know what else? When I think about it for a second, young Kaminari, your quirk is almost a resemble to One For All. Your body was too weak to truly use it, and when you weren't ready, you had a horrible drawback. Wow, I never really thought about it that way. It's strange about how some quirks work, said Izuku. Well, anyway, thanks for sharing your story with me. It really does help me out a lot that I know more about you kids. It's no problem, All Might, said Denki. So, shall we get back to cleaning the beach, said Izuku. Yeah, let's hop to it. Both the boys then proceed to clean the beach. We then skip a few months. The beach was almost done. It was raining, and a little bit of a thunderstorm was overhead. The boys were wearing their raincoats. Izuku was moving stuff, but he was met with a strange feeling in his arms. He looked down and saw that they were for some reason shrouded in blue electricity. And it got even more weirder when the sky gave out a roaring thum. The electricity around his hands would fluctuate, making them move and expand uncontrollably. Izuku, being extremely confused, then shook his arms, trying to shake off the electricity or make it go away like he usually would. But then he heard more thunder, and when he looked up, he saw the lightning was moving around in the clouds. Izuku then swung his arms left to right, and he noticed that the bolts of electricity in the sky was following his hand movements. Wow, said Izuku. What is this? Denki realizes that Izuku was just standing there and says, hey bro, or is everything alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Come over here, check this out. Denki goes to Izuku and sees his arms. What you got there, buddy? Izuku speaks. Hey, check this out. Izuku moves his arms around and told his brother to look up. Denki does this, and he notices that the lightning in the sky is moving with Izuku. Wow, bro, are you controlling the lightning? I think so, said Izuku. Hang on, I'm gonna try something. Okay, just be careful, said a concerned Denki. Okay, I will. Izuku makes a fist and swings it downwards, and a huge beam of lightning strikes the ground a few feet in front of the boys, leaving a scorched mark in the ground with some of the sand forming into glass from the intense heat. Both of the boys were taken off by that they took steps back. Toshinori ran over to them and says, "Boys, are you okay?" "Yeah, we're fine. It just looks like Izuku here just got a power-up." "Yeah, my arms, they're..." Oh. Izuku looks down to his arms and realizes that the electricity had stopped and the thunderstorm had lifted. And the clouds were moving as the rain stopped. Oh well, I guess it only happens when it's stormy. Toshinori speaks. Wow, that was truly an impressive move, young Kaminari. I suppose it could make sense that you could not only have positive and negative charge, but you can also manipulate them in the clouds as well. Yeah, that was nuts, said Izuku. Izuku looked to the spot where the lightning had struck. It was still a bit smoky, and the spikes made from the glass that was once sand. The sunlight pierces through the thin clouds, and soon the three men were met with a nice warm sunlight. Izuku turned around and says, "Okay, let's get back to it." More time has passed, and the boys were tasked to do another 10-kilometer run, only this time there was a time limit. They were given a certain amount of time to be back at this designated area that was calculated for the 10-kilometer run. And if they wouldn't make it back in time, they would have to do it again. Denki and Izuku were jogging, and this time Denki was actually being able to keep up with Izuku. Wow, bro, you're actually doing great. Yeah, it's all this hard work. It's really paying off. You know, bro, I never really told you how grateful I am for your help getting me through all this. Thank you, Izuku. Izuku smiles and says, "What are brothers for?" Denki smiles, but their jogging was interrupted when Izuku stopped to see a woman who looked in her mid-30s, wearing a long-sleeve shirt that was purple and skin-tight. Her pants were matching and skin-tight as well. She was stretching before getting started with her jog. The one thing that caught Izuku's eye about this woman was her posterior. The arch in her back made it impossible to miss, and at that moment there was one thing going through Izuku's mind. "I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny that when a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get..." All thoughts were interrupted by Denki tapping Izuku on the shoulder, saying, "Hey bro, I know she's got good cake, but we need to finish this jog." "Okay, sorry," said Izuku. "Let's go." Izuku starts running, but Denki gets one more peek at the girl with the bottom peach figure. But unfortunately, the woman turned around to see Denki staring at her. She giggled, and Denki's face turned red from embarrassment, and he continued his run. A few days have passed, and All Might decided that they will be practicing on training their quirks. Today, we will be training your quirks. Elder Kaminari, your body can store electricity and shoot it out, but is there a limit on how much you can hold? And what happens if you overload on it? Well, the most that I've ever held was 100,000 volts. And if I overload on it, my skin gets burned and I might end up with a scar like this. Denki then showed Toshinori a slight visible scar on his right arm that looked like it took the shape of a lightning bolt. Toshinori kneels down and looks closer and says, and how did this happen? Izuku speaks. That was me. And what happened? Asked Toshinori. Well, we were practicing on using our quirks one day, and I gave him a little too much electricity. Denki speaks. Yeah, but it's okay. I didn't really feel anything the first time. The first time I noticed it was when I was taking a shower one day, and I saw it. Toshinori thinks for a second. How about this? Elder Kaminari, you're going to use your quirk and blast at some of the items that are on this beach. And just when you feel like you're about to run low, young Kaminari here will feed you energy. Denki speaks. Well, it's a good idea, All Might, but there's just one problem. I can't really control where the electricity goes. It kind of just shoots out all over the place. All Might thinks for a second and says, what about you, young Kaminari? How does your electricity shoot out? Oh, well, I can control where I shoot my power. I'm not exactly sure what I do when I shoot it out. It just pretty much just goes in the direction I want it to go. And when I'm a wolf, I can gather up all my power into a ball and shoot it that way. Interesting, said Toshinori. So how about this? You say the volts shoot out at random spots. Well, how about you let a light bolt of electricity flow through you and imagine it piling into your hands. And when you feel that's enough, then stop. And keep focus on your hands. And let's see what happens. Okay, said Denki. But I think it would be best if you stood back a few feet. I don't want to risk shocking you. Toshinori obliges and stands a few feet away. Denki then looks to Izuku and said, well, here we go. Denki takes a deep breath and lightly covers his body in electricity. It was under control at the moment. No electricity was going everywhere. It was remaining on Denki. Raising his hands up, he concentrates, making a fist as he inhales, and then unclenches, and then opens his hands when he exhales. He then stops, sending the electricity through him, staying focused on his hands. Wow, said Izuku, you're doing it. Denki opens his eyes to see that his powers are fully focused in his hands, and only his hands. Denki was bewildered, with his eyes widened, and Toshinori smiling with pride. Quick, said Izuku, shoot it at that refrigerator. Okay, said Denki. With his right arm, he extends it out towards the refrigerator and blasts it, leaving a big scorched black mark on it. So cool, said Izuku. Now, hit that filing cabinet. Okay. With his left hand, he flings the cabinet away. Both of the boys jump for joy as they give each other a high five. Toshinori then approaches both the boys and said, I thought you said you didn't want me to get shocked. Well, I was, about how fast you learned that. Great job, Elder Kaminari. Thanks, All Might. I couldn't have done it without you. Toshinori then turned into All Might and says, Well then, shall we make your quirk stronger? Both the boys jump into the air with their fists raised, while yelling, Yeah! And so they did. For the rest of the day, Izuku would repeatedly give his brother energy whenever he felt like he was running out. And by the end of the day, Denki was able to hold more electricity. The sun was setting, and the boys were walking as they waved to All Might. And All Might would wave back. When they are out of All Might's sight, they talk. Izuku starts. Oh man, bro, you could shoot volts of electricity in one direction. That's definitely going to come in handy in the entrance exams. Denki then says, I know. I can't wait to try these new skills. And it's all thanks to All Might training us. Izuku smiles and says, You've come a long way, bro. And when that beach is clean, soon our powers will be equal. It just goes to show that hard work definitely pays off. I know, said Denki. I definitely never would have made it without you, bro. Denki then reaches over with his right hand and touches Izuku's right shoulder and brings him in closer and says, You're the best brother a man could have. Right back at you, bro. Right back at you. We fade to black. At the beach, Toshinori speaks to himself. It's just 2 more weeks until the entrance exam. Hopefully the boys can finish with the beach soon. He then hears screams of celebration. He follows the sound and turns the corner. He sees both the Kaminari brothers standing on a pile of trash, doing air arm wrestling. Denki looks and says, Hey look, there he is. Izuku then says, Oh hey, Toshinori, look, we finished cleaning the beach. Toshinori was amazed, slowly walking towards the beach. Holy moly, super crap! Great job, boys! You've successfully cleaned this beach with 2 weeks to spare. Both the boys jumped from the trash, landing in front of Toshinori. Denki speaks. Yeah, we were so close to finishing the beach that I couldn't sleep, and I just had to finish it. Izuku gets in the conversation saying, Yeah, I was surprised he didn't sleep, and so I came with him. We stood up all night, and here is the result. Izuku extends his arm out, gesturing to the clean beach. Toshinori speaks. I gotta say, I'm really impressed, boys. You both worked so hard. Toshinori then sighs and says, Man, I wish there was a way to give both of you one for all. I see great potential in both of you, and hearts that are unbreakable. But unfortunately, there can only be one. Toshinori then turns into All Might as he kneels down in front of Denki and says, Elder Kaminari, you've come such a long way and have earned the right to wield my quirk. Or All Might then plucks the hair from his head and said, Eat this. Both the boys were disturbed of what All Might had just said and slowly backed away from him while they both said, What? All Might sighs and says, I knew I forgot to tell them something. Toshinori stands up. Denki pulls Izuku behind him, protecting him. Toshinori speaks. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that in order to inherit my quirk, you need to consume my DNA. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. But I swear, that's what you need to do in order to get my quirk. The boys look to each other, and Denki takes the hair and eats it. And after a few coughs and gags, he pushes through and swallows it. Izuku comforts him, rubbing his back. Okay, great, said Toshin. Okay, great, said All Might. Now, I know it's still morning, but how about you boys just go relax for today? And again, I'm sorry for not telling you about the hair. It's fine, All Might, said Denki. Come on, let's go. The boys leave Toshinori to the side of the clean beach. A few hours pass. It's dark. Denki has fallen asleep. In his dream, he was in a dark place, and looking over, he saw a woman with black hair. She was very muscular and had a small mole just on the bottom right side of her face. The woman then approached Denki. He stood there, confused, wondering what's going on. As the woman gets closer and closer, she stopped within 3 feet of the young blonde. She then proceeds to stare at him intensely, and then she speaks. So, you're the one Toshinori chose. A little pervert, but hey, you're just a teenager, so I'll let you get the power. Denki was even more confused and said, If you don't mind me asking, who are you? The woman smiled and said, My name is... But before she could finish her name, the sound of a window shattering woke up Denki with electricity covering his body for a few seconds, and his bedroom window was smashed. Both mother and father entered the room with their quirks drawn, ready for a fight. That was until they looked and saw that it was just Denki, drenched with sweat and panting. What's wrong, sweetie? Said Mom. Denki wasn't sure how to answer. All that came out of his mouth was, I had a nightmare and I lost control of my quirk. I'm sorry, I'll pay for the window. Mother approached her son and felt his forehead. He's a little warm. Are you sure you're okay, son? Asked father. Yeah, Dad, I'm fine. Izuku enters the room after doing his nightly jog and says, Is everything alright? Mother turns around and says, Yeah, your brother just had a nightmare. Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna keep an eye on him for the rest of the night, in case anything happens again. You guys go ahead and go back to sleep. Mother looked to Denki one more time and said, Let us know if anything else happens, okay, honey? Yeah, Mom, okay, thanks. Both parents leave the boys alone, and Izuku and Denki speak amongst each other. Bro, was that one for all? I saw it like a few blocks away. Asked Izuku. I think so, but I'm not sure. I had a dream. I was in a place, and there was this woman who said she'll let me have the power. I think she was talking about One For All. She was about to tell me her name, but before she could tell me, my quirk went off out of control. But there was something different about it. It was like all the colors of the rainbow. Izuku was intrigued about what was being told to him and said, You saw a woman? Well, did you at least hear a little bit of her name? Yeah, but all I heard was Nana. Izuku thinks for a moment and says, Nana? Okay, in the morning I'm gonna call Toshinori and hopefully he can explain about what's going on. Okay, said Denki. Izuku then said, Now, why don't you try going back to sleep? I'll sit over there and keep an eye on you, in case that happens again. Okay, thanks, bro. No problem, said Izuku. A few hours passed. Denki woke up to Izuku watching him. Hey, bro. Hey, how'd you sleep this time? I slept normally, but something feels different with me. Oh? How different? I mean, when it comes to power, I can feel the energy flowing through me. That could be a good sign. Perhaps One for All did make your quirk stronger. Let's go out and see. I already informed Toshinori about what had happened. He said to meet him at the beach at 10. He also said he had someone he wants you to meet. Okay, said Denki. Let's get ready. Denki practically jumped out of his bed. Wow, look at you moving, bro. Looking all active, said Izuku. Yeah, I'm really feeling great today. Come on, I can't wait to show Toshinori. Denki ushers to the bathroom and Izuku smiles, feeling happy that his brother is enthusiastic about a new chapter in his life. A few minutes go by, and the boys are at the beach. The sky was a bright orange with a glimmer of sunlight over the horizon of the ocean water. Both the boys were admiring their hard work at cleaning the beach. Both stared infinitely. Izuku speaks. We really did do a great thing for our community. Yeah, said Denki. I'm proud of us. Both of the boys then were called by name. Turning around, they both see Toshinori with a small man, possibly in his 60s, with a cane. Both the boys wave and hello. Toshinori introduces the man, saying, Elder Kaminari, young Kaminari. I'd like you to meet my former sensei. This is Gran Torino. Sensei, these are the great future heroes I told you about. Both the boys greet each other. Hi, I'm Denki Kaminari. And I'm Izuku Kaminari. An awkward moment of silence goes by, and Gran Torino speaks. Who the hell are you three people? Izuku and Denki were confused until Toshinori spoke. Come on now, Torino. Stop fooling around. Gran Torino speaks. I'm just kidding. It's nice to finally meet you boys. Both the boys chuckle. Gran Torino speaks. So, which one of you has it? Denki speaks. I do, sir. I felt it last night. Toshinori speaks. Yeah. Young Kaminari told me that over a call. He said that you saw a woman and her name was Nana? Yes, sir. Interesting. I wonder what that means. Well, we'll think about it later. But for now, we need to train you on how to properly use your new power. Denki says, okay, cool. But real quick, who is this Nana person? Toshinori explains. Her full name was Nana Shimura. She was the person who passed One for All down to me. Izuku then said, and what happened to her? She died, fighting a villain to buy me and Gran Torino some time to escape. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, said Denki. It's okay. Right now, it's training time. Let's go. Both the boys respond saying, yeah! For the past 2 weeks, Gran Torino has been teaching Denki on how to properly use One for All. And surprisingly, in a short amount of time, Denki would actually learn full cowling. But not before a few visits to Recovery Woman in healing him after breaking his bones a few times. The day of the entrance exams come, and both the boys were taking in the scenery of the UA premises. Denki speaks. Wow, so this is UA. Izuku says, yeah, it's really big. Both the boys look to each other, and Izuku says, it's time to put all our hard work to good use. Are you ready for this? Denki then smiles, raising his left fist up and saying, hell yeah, let's do this. Both of the boys start walking towards the entrance of the building. And that is about as far as I'm going to have to read this. If I read any further, it's going to be too long. But don't worry, part 3 will be out sooner than you think. So I do hope that everyone enjoyed this video. And if you made it to the end of this video, consider yourselves #blessed. And I hope everyone has a nice day. Goodbye.